The buzzer beaters, the crowd, the Cinderellas. College basketball is a beautiful game filled with the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. The start of every season brings a fresh start for every team and every player. A chance for teams to fold under the burden of their expectations. A chance for teams to receive redemption for a previous season that was cut shorter than they had hoped. And of course, a chance for teams and players expected to do nothing to shock the world. This channel will be dedicated to discussing and analyzing all that goes on in the college basketball world. Welcome to the CBB Report. With conference play just beginning, let's go through each conference and rank the teams. Today, let's do our too early 2022-2023 rankings for one of the deepest conferences in college basketball, the ACC. While I love ranking teams, I do not believe it provides a clear picture of the competition levels between teams. The difference between a team I rank 7 and a team I rank 8 can be extremely marginal, and both teams can probably flip-flop on my rankings. The same things go for 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and etc. That is why I've created a tier list to show off different levels of competition. In the ACC, I've created 5 tiers, the 5th being the lowest and the 1st being the highest. Today, let's rank Tier 1, which I have named the Ultimate Contenders. Like the rest of the other conferences, for Tier 1, I have named it the Ultimate Contenders. These are the teams with the highest likelihood of winning the ACC, and these 3 teams have very few flaws and will be highly seeded come March Madness. These are the heavyweights of the ACC and should have the strongest rosters. I wrestled with the 3rd place team for a long time. I kept on switching the 2nd team and the 3rd team back and forth. I originally put this team at 2nd, just barely, but seeing how both teams have played at the start of the season, I decided to cheat a little bit and change my mind. This means 3rd in the ACC, and last in Tier 1, the Ultimate Contenders is Duke. I made these rankings December 15th, so Duke's kind of fallen off since then, but I'll still keep him here. Duke will experience a coaching change for the first time in 42 years as Coach K is retired and is replaced by former Duke player and former Duke coaching assistant Jon Scheyer. Scheyer will coach a mostly new roster, but not one devoid of talent. Scheyer was able to recruit the #1 recruiting class in all of college basketball, and Duke's best recruiting class since 2018, when they got Zion Williamson, RJ Barrett, and Cam Reddish. Scheyer recruited 5-star center and the #1 recruit in the entire 2022 class, Dereck Lively II, 5-star small forward, and the #2 recruit in the entire 2022 class, Dariq Whitehead, 5-star center and the #4 recruit in the entire 2022 class, Kyle Filipowski, 5-star power forward recruit and the #22 recruit in the entire 2022 class, Mark Mitchell, high 4-star and dare I say underrated point guard recruit, Tyrese Proctor, high 4-star shooting guard, Jaden Schutt, and high 3-star center, Christian Reeves. Wow, what a recruiting class for the Blue Devils. Scheyer also did a great job in the transfer portal, getting shooting guard Jacob Grandison from Illinois, power forward Ryan Young from Northwestern, and small forward Cale Catchings from Harvard. So yes, Duke lost 4 starters, including first pick of the draft Paolo Banchero, but the incoming talent should be enough for Duke to be in Tier 1 again. That said, in the age of the super senior, this is a young roster, and they do break my love for continuity. All factors I was thinking about when deciding where to place them. The starting 5 has been Jeremy Roach, Dariq Whitehead, Mark Mitchell, Kyle Filipowski, and Dereck Lively. That is 4 freshmen in the starting 5, which makes now veteran point guard Jeremy Roach much more important. Roach was supposed to have a breakout sophomore season last year, but struggled in the beginning and middle of the season. By the end of the season, though, he began to turn it on, and he was named to the first team all preseason this year. If he can lead this team with a veteran presence and cut back on the silly turnovers and mistakes, Duke will be so much better. A lot hinges on Roach this year, and the Blue Devils need late season form of Roach, not early season form. The rest of the starting 5 are extremely talented freshmen. These freshmen are massive and can control the boards. Despite Lively's limitations with shooting the ball, as he's more of a traditional center, Mitchell and Filipowski's shooting ability give Duke increased court spacing, and the Blue Devils with their height and strength can make you feel like you're playing the Monstars. I love Proctor out of high school, and though he was not technically a 5-star, I thought he should have been, and has been productive for Duke so far. The bench should be Jalen Blakes, Ryan Young, Tyrese Proctor, and Jacob Grandison, and potentially Jaden Schutt and some of the other recruits. Grandison and Young can provide a veteran presence off the bench, and can also score the rock, and the rest of the bench has immense talent and energy. So why has Duke struggled compared to expectations this year? Well, struggled is a bit of a, hyperbole since they're 11-3, but they did lose to NC State and Wake Forest. Part of that is just being a new young team with a new head coach. Duke sometimes has gone through scoring droughts like the one against Purdue where they didn't score in the final 7 minutes of the game. And again, that can probably be attributed to lack of experience. So far, this season, Duke when facing adversity seems stuck and out of solutions, but I expect that to get better as the season goes on. This Duke team will be most dangerous in March. Right now though, Duke needs their bench to give them some stability. I can see Duke winning March Madness but still being 3rd in the ACC. Duke may struggle into January and that is going to cost them some ACC games and cause them to be upset, but expect this team to come into shape by March. I expect Duke to go 15-5 and finish 3rd in the ACC. In the middle of Tier 1 and second in the ACC, I have Virginia. Again, originally I had Virginia at 3, but barely. But after seeing how they played the first couple of games of the college basketball season, I'm ready to bump them up to 2. This team is not as talented as Duke, but that does not matter. Head coach Tony Bennett was able to keep most of the squad from last year, a squad that did not make March Madness, but ended last season on a positive note. And Bennett also had a great recruiting class. The recruiting class was Bennett's highest at Virginia. Bennett got high 4-star combo guard Isaac McNeely, high 4-star power forward Isaac Trout, high 4-star small forward Leon Bond, and 4-star small forward Ryan Dunn. He also got Ohio power forward Bennett Vanderplas from the transfer portal. And yet, most likely none of these players will start, because Virginia wins the ACC Continuity Award of the Year. The starting 5 is Kihei Clark, Reese Beekman, Armand Franklin, Jaden Gardner, and Caden Shedrick, which means all 5 starters returned from last year's team. Now some may think that's not great considering that starting 5 did not get to March Madness last year, but they were really unlucky last year in that many of their shots were not falling. They were one of the worst shooting teams in the ACC, but they have players that can shoot. It just wasn't falling last season. Assuming Virginia shoots better, which so far this season they have, this team should be elite. Their defense is already elite and one of the best in the country. They probably have the best defense in the ACC, and scoring buckets on the Hoos will be tough. The offense is already should shoot better, and with the whole starting 5 back gelling together and playing better, and with another year under their belt, this Hoos team is dangerous. Reese Blackman is already a lockdown defender on the perimeter, but for this team to be successful, he needs to continue shooting well and serve as a 3-and-D player for Virginia. Clark is the perfect veteran point guard and game manager. He's already won an NCAA championship for Virginia, making the key pass in the quarterfinals to help Virginia beat Purdue and advance to the Final Four. He's not going to score a lot, but he does not need to. Clark rarely makes mistakes and is able to dissect the defense with ease. He is very much like Tiger Campbell in the Pac-12. Also, he's super familiar with Tony Bennett, so it's as if there's a second coach on the floor. Jaden Gardner made the preseason All-Second team, and I expect Shedrick to really break out over the course of the season, giving the Hoos an extremely strong front court. A stable and strong backcourt mixed with a talented front court, now that is a recipe for success. The bench features Isaac McNeely, Ben Vanderplas, Ryan Dunn, and maybe Francisco Cafaro and Isaac Trout if Bennett wants to give some of the freshmen some minutes. Vanderplas gives Virginia much-needed frontcourt depth, and McNeely should get some minutes as an impact freshman. The bench is deep and offers even more stability for this Virginia team. So yes, the Hoos may not be as talented as Duke, or as the number 1 team in the ACC, but as you can tell, I'm very much in love with the composition of this team, and I could see them winning the ACC too. Virginia are ready for a big year, and the team is hungry to make March Madness again. I'm really excited to watch Virginia this year, and I think they'll be 16-4 and second in the ACC. First in Tier 1, the ultimate contenders, and first in the entire ACC is UNC. Now I have to admit, this isn't really aging too well since I made these predictions around December 10th, December 15th, I don't remember when, but around then. And then I got caught up with finals, you know how that works as a college student. But regardless, this UNC prediction isn't aging too well. I mean, they're 10-5 with some pretty bad losses. But I have to stay true to my prediction. They may not win the ACC, but I do think they'll end up in Tier 1 by the end of the year. For a quick second, I actually thought about putting Virginia above UNC, and maybe I should have, but the talent of this Tar Heels team is just too great. Talk about continuity, UNC would have won the Continuity Award if not for Virginia. The Tar Heels returned 4 players from a team that made the national championship last year. Brady Manek was crucial to the team, and he did graduate, but head coach Hubert Davis replaced Manek with Pete Nance from Northwestern in the transfer portal. Nance plays like Manek, so North Carolina should not miss a beat. Davis also had a good recruiting class, the 12th best recruiting class in the country. Davis recruited high 4-star point guard Seth Trimble, 4-star power forward Tyler Nickel, and undersized high 3-star center Jalen Washington. Now, it's not like Davis will play these recruits, as Davis has a notoriously short bench, but if you want to, especially Trimble could contribute for this team early on. The starting 5 should be RJ Davis, Caleb Love, Leaky Black, Pete Nance, and Armando Bacot. Bacot was predicted to win ACC Player of the Year, and it is hard to argue against it. He was also put on the watch list for National Player of the Year. He is a great defender and scorer inside, and somehow an even better rebounder. He's probably the best rebounder in the country. He is the anchor on this team, and is the best center in the ACC. Leaky Black is one of the best glue guys in the country. He does not score much, but he can ball handle and is a great defender. Black does not need to score on this team. That is not his role, and he fits his role perfectly. Nance is taking over Manek's role as a stretch 4, a role he was really proficient at in the Big Ten. He will need to continue being proficient in the ACC if this team wants to be good again, but there's no reason to believe he won't. Nance is weak on the glass, but does not matter when you have Bacot as your center. Davis and Love will be in the backcourt. Both are great scorers and underrated passers. They both can score really well in ISO and create their own shots. The one thing against them is they're pretty streaky scorers, especially Love. They always take their shots, and sometimes it'll look really ugly. But when Davis and Love are hot, there's no one better, especially because they're both so adept at creating their own shot. To his credit so far this season, Hubert Davis has expanded his bench. The bench should feature some combination of Seth Trimble, who's made a big impact as a freshman so far, Puff Johnson, Justin McCoy, and maybe Jalen Washington. Puff Johnson, the younger brother to NBA player Cameron Johnson, is a really strong player. He's been on the back end of the rotation, but I think it's a wrong decision by Davis, and Johnson should be getting more minutes. Johnson could be a change of pace for this Tar Heels team, as he has the potential to be a 3-level scorer, and he's bigger than Love, Black, or Davis, so he can take the rock inside more and work in the low posts. Trimble's been working as the sixth man, been fantastic in that role, and he's just another talent in the treasure chest for the Tar Heels. This team is just good, and their talent plus continuity is the reason I put them above Virginia. I'm a little nervous for this team considering their 10-5 record, but I have to stay true to my early season prediction, so I think they'll go 17-3 and be first in the entire ACC. That concludes my entire ACC tiers and rankings. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments some video ideas to make during the rest of the college basketball season. Follow the TikTok, the CBB Report. Subscribe, like, and comment with your thoughts. Where was I right? Where do you think I went wrong? Let me know down below. And as always, thank you for watching.